craziness that has been going on with the Little Mermaid and the Little Mermaid being black?
I saw some of it, yeah.
Right? What's your take on that, boy?
I don't take on that.
Right?
I will say this. I think Disney baited people into this.
Right.
I think Disney knows. This is my personal opinion that in the case of many of these movies that are coming out now, I believe that they're intentionally doing things to stoke controversy to build buzz around the movies, right? Because the movies themselves aren't great anymore. They're just kind of rehashing the same things over and over and over and over. So I think they do things. So for instance, with The Little Mermaid, I think they intentionally cast a black girl to play the role, to bait people into making that the issue. So that when they criticize the movie, because the movie will most likely end up being like all the other movies, just dog shit anyway. When they criticize the movie, it'll be like, two things. One, you either can't criticize the movie publicly, because then you'll be seen as criticizing the fact that it's a black girl doing it.
Right.
Or two, if you dare to publicly criticize, they could say, well, we know why you don't like it. Because you're one of those people. You know what I mean?
Right. And then thinking about, because I was saying, I find it weird because why piss off a majority, especially in the States? You understand what I'm saying? Or why possibly piss off a majority to please a minority now, boy?
Well, that's been Disney's thing. That's what a question people have been asking about Disney in general. Like, why they're making movies that where they seem to be intentionally trying to piss off the fan base. Because one thing, it's not just a pissing off a majority or minority, they're pissing off the fans of the franchises themselves, because they're not making original things. It's not like they're making, some new movie with a completely new storyline. They're taking things that exist that have big fan bases and they're just shifting it up. So so if you like Thor and you love Thor's character and Thor is supposed to be a god, and that would come with a particular demeanor and bravado and charisma. And if you want to take him and make him into like a puppy, and then make some girl the real strong hero in the show, that's going to piss off fans of Thor.
Right.
Now, you could have just made a show with that girl and made her the main character, but you didn't do that. You used a bait and switch. And people have been saying this for Disney, arguing this for a while now, and they think, or what I've heard some people argue, is that Disney just they're indulging their staff and the people on the payroll who are woke. They're indulging them and losing money because they could afford to. They are banking on it turning, the tide turning eventually, while other movie studios have kind of like, nah, we're done with that. Like when Sony took over Spider-Man, they're like, hey, you see that? We done with this woke shit. So these Spider-Man's just gonna be normal. You know what I mean? They're not gonna have any messaging and any weirdness in it. As other studios and franchises, they have kind of recognized, hey, Ghostbusters was one of them. They tried to go down the road with the all-female Ghostbusters. Nobody liked that one, and they come back and they do a Ghostbusters. I was kind of like, all right, this is normal. This is what fans of Ghostbusters read. And and a lot of them, the cast are diverse. Like the cast of Spider-Man is a diverse cast. It's not like nobody really has a problem with you changing up the races or the individuals. But just you don't have to shove messaging down people's throats. But Disney, on the other hand, they don't care how many flops they make. They just continuing to go down that road.
No, so here's my take on it, right? I was saying all the time, I think if Ariel was white again, well, if she could continue being white, I don't think less people would have bought tickets to go and see it, if they wanted to go and see it, right? A lot of people I spoke to who would have watched Little Mermaid back in the day, they were saying that they didn't see Ariel as white. I mean, obviously, we knew she was white, but it didn't bother them what color she was or wasn't.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
That was Ariel.
Which is why I don't think this is one of those instances where changing the race of the person was a big deal. I could have seen this being normal. Like, I could have seen them casting this girl to play the Little Mermaid, even if they weren't like trying to be diverse. Because number one, first of all, she's not my complexion. You know what I mean? She's not, it's not like they take, what's that girl name? Alec Weck or Lupita Nyong'o or one of them and cast them as the Little Mermaid, right? Which would have been a huge contrast. I think that would have been like different to people. But, you know, she's a lighter skinned black woman, right? I don't think it would have made a big difference to anybody. But what I think causes the issue is that people think you're not, people don't think you're just doing it because, well, this girl is the best girl for the role and we just feel it's cool. No, they think you're doing it because you have an agenda. Right. And that's what people have an issue with. Keep your agenda to yourself and leave my childhood and my classics or whatever, and let me have them. Again, I wouldn't get so, you know, heated about a classic movie from my childhood, but
no,
that's what some people do.
Because some people say they did Cinderella with, I think, Brandy or Moesha or one of them.
Brandy played Moesha. Moesha was the show she was in.
Some shit like that, right? Can't remember. She booked it. Anyway,
Well, this is Brandy then?
Yeah.
Now look, behave yourself, eh? No. You can't this Brandy.
Daddy. She might be able to sing, dog.
No.
She shooting. She did that? Started shooting yet?
Hey.
Did I teach shooting?
Stop this Brandy.
Did I teach? If I teach shooting,
I don't know. I find that I never saw a problem with her teeth.
Serious?
Never saw a problem.
It's a bit too forward for me. But and people apparently accepted it when it was done.
Brandy,
right? Back then.
Yeah.
No, anyhow. So my point was,
and that's the point, the point I'm making, because back then people didn't feel they were doing it because they had, because the reason why people are upset now is because that's what Disney has been doing. They've been taking all of the comic classics and switching and changing the gender roles and changing the race to push a point and to advance an agenda. Whereas back whenever Brandy, because if it was Brandy playing the role, it had to be some time ago, right? When she was doing it, nobody felt it was they probably thought, oh, you wanted to put a famous person, right? You wanted to put the person who was a big thing right now, right?
Yeah,
that is more way, but you wasn't trying to force diversity down anybody's throat, and that's why they're upset.
Yeah, and what I've realized though is that a lot of the white people who are upset with Disney, but a lot of the black people just want to kill all the white people, dog. And
What do you mean?
Because the thing is, the white people directing their anger towards Disney, like, why Disney doing this? Doesn't make sense, whatever, right?
And that's what Disney wants.
Right.
I understand what you mean now, but the division now, and sparks a big, almost like a race.
Yeah. And it turned into black people now, one trying to laugh in the face of white people, and pushing this war now, man. Whoa, this war ain't necessary, dog.
Yeah.
And
I think that's why I think Disney baits people into that trap so they could get this. And I must say Disney, I mean, I'm not saying Disney as a company has that policy, you know, but the writers, the people who do the same thing on social media, where they would bait you into an argument where, you know, they want you to say something that has some racial connotation or could be deemed as racially charged, so that they could jump on you and say, and another thing is, a lot of black people, if they would start the conversation with, all these white people have a problem with and they ask them, who are the white people that have a problem? Do you, and have you spoken to any white? How many white people? I think they're all over social media. Okay, show me them. But what are they saying? They're saying racist things. They're sounding like the Klan. They're saying, hey, no nigga could ever play Ariel. What are they saying? You know? But they can't show you because they don't really care. They want this to, these people want race to be an issue. They don't want it to disappear. They don't want it to disappear. And to be fair to, you know, to the people who are reacting to the people who are upset about it, those people are taking the bait. Just ignore it. If you don't want to see, just ignore it. Just ignore it. Because that's what they're looking for. They're looking for you to say something. And then no matter what you say, they're going to say it because the person black. Right? You understand what I'm saying? Even if you say, hey, listen, I don't have any issue with a black girl playing you. And we could make rules for, you know, we could tell whole new stories. And we could have a version of underwater animated movie or whatever told from a black perspective with completely new characters and whatever. You could say that. I know what somebody who wants to hear race will hear. Yeah, you only say that because...
And that's the funny thing about it, because let me just say, and because they want to act like if these people don't want black people to make money, but these
or they don't want to see black people take ascendancy,
right?
Yeah,
or they don't want black people,
to be front and center,
right?
Yeah,
but those same people that they claiming don't want to never, or they went and watch
Black Panther.
Oh, yeah. You understand?
Yeah.
Or some of them would have gone and watched Tyler Perry movies.
They don't Right? But they would have gone to see a movie that starred Will Smith.
Right.
They've gone to see a movie that starred Halle Berry. They never had an issue with that. The issue is when you take something that is existing now and swap the... That's easy to understand. That's very easy to understand. I mean, you could say, oh God, you kind of dotish to whole lot. It's a fucking animated series. It shouldn't get so irritated about it anyway. But that's easy to understand, and that's a nuanced conversation that if we had the conversation...
Yeah, because I as I say, I think it's very easy that... All right, so let me just say, as I was saying just now, most people probably wouldn't have cared, right? If Ariel was Ariel, right? But at the end of the day, we as black people coming up young, especially in that time, we kind of always saw white people on TV. So it was what it was.
Right.
Right?
Yes.
So, and it didn't really play on our mind either way, right? Yeah. But probably for them, they would have... that would have resonated with them, and it was more relatable to them because they were white. I don't know. Right? So seeing it switch now, it could probably affect their, the nostalgia for them. Possibly. And I think I am not vexed with somebody if they feel a particular way about that. You understand what I'm saying? If they feel like you kind of mess up something that I was accustomed to, or you understand what I'm saying? I was comfortable with. Yeah. Right? That's how life just goes sometimes. And I could never want to kill them or want them to die or if they voice their opinion on that, I can't feel like, well, you hate me because you or you racist because you... I think because, as I say, it's just so much nuance to it, and I don't know why. But then again, that is the leftist thing, and that is the liberal thing, is to not care what other people think or what people say.
I actually think that's the social media thing. That's the social media thing. That is, we want to straw man everybody so that we can argue with that straw man. We want to argue with the straw man. We don't want to argue with a person. A person has nuanced views, or most people at least have nuanced views, and they might make some sense, and you might have some common ground, and you don't want to have that. You want to have an argument with a straw man. You have invented in your head what the issue is, and you want to fight that thing. So that's why they're not really interested in listening to anybody who wants to express what the issue is. And even if they did, they'd say, you just lying, you just saying that. But what you really mean is, and then because it's like the same stupid argument they would say where, America, a country that elected a black man twice, and until the last election, where Trump got all those votes, and Biden got more. But the point is, Trump got more votes. The only person that ever got more votes than Trump was Biden, right? Yeah. But before that, the election that he won against Hillary, if he had run against Barack Obama, he'd have lost. And everybody knows that. But then the explanation for him, winning is racist. That can't make sense.
Yeah.
Because the same country elected a black man twice.
Yeah. So
what, the racists were not mobilized to stop a black man from taking office, but they were mobilized by this guy? And let's say they were mobilized by this guy, right? Okay, cool. But he still would have lost if he had run against Obama, right? So is it that he was elected because the country is a racist country? Or is it that he was elected for a bunch of different reasons, and also because the person he ran against was not a very popular individual, right? And if he had run against the saint that is Obama, the deity to some people that is Obama, he'd have lost. But they want to reduce it to, this is the simple answer, because having a nuanced conversation is not interesting to them. They don't get to emote and get all angry and, as I say, argue with a strong man.
And then it will take some digging and some thinking and coming out of your comfort zone plenty times, because then you realize that for instance, it had problems in Middle America that was affecting certain people, not you, but certain people, and he say he would have addressed that, and
that matters to them more than how much he irritates you matters to you. You know what I mean? They are very, you could if you're getting onto a plane, right, and you have a choice between two pilots, one who's eloquent, he's dapper, he's polite, he's a real good guy, right, but he knows how to fly yesterday, and then there's a guy who's a clown who might have been cussing passengers in the departure lounge before he got onto the plane. Yeah, here he's beaty wife. But you'll take him because all you're interested in is getting to the destination.
This man flying for 30 years.
Yeah.
No issues, no issues.
Yeah. So you'll take him because at this point in time, for what you need, he is the better candidate, because you don't need him to be a role model for your children. You need him to get you from point A to point B. This other guy, he's a very, very, if you were looking for a role model for your children, this would probably be a good guy. But not as a pilot. It's the same thing. No, I'm not saying that necessarily Trump was better or worse, but the point is, to some people he was. To some people it's like, you get irritated when he talks and you think but I want somebody to solve my problems.
At the end of the day, to some people, he was an option. Right? And that is what democracy is. Right? No matter how you feel about it, that's what democracy is. Right?
But this idea that it is what that a lot of people would espouse, that they just can't simply understand. Like, you can't vote for him unless you are like him, which is a foolish thing, because, as I said, you could ask for that pilot, even though you're not that, you would never beat your wife, or you would be much more respectful than he is. But you're not asking for, as I say, a role model. You're asking for a pilot. And to some of these people, they have problems that need to be solved. And they've seen a lot of a conveyor belt of people who talk nice and look good and eloquent and charismatic and speak well, and, and they've done nothing to solve their problems. And here's this guy who might be a kind of a buffoon, but he might solve my problem. So I pick him. Now, again, would he solve your problem? Probably not. To some extent, he did solve some of their problems, right? But the point is, I won't trust any politician anyway to solve my problem, and he already take it. But that's me. But the point is, that's an understandable thing. But like you say, that would take having a nuanced discussion, and these people are binary thinkers.
Bringing it back to the discussion with the Little Mermaid thing, right? So I was talking to a woman yesterday, and she said, no, well, the thing is, we as black people, we're just happy to see, the representation, and little girls could now see that on TV and think, me as a little girl, I could do anything. Well,
it could be a fish.
The thing is, as I told her, listen, my daughter watch them Mermaid. She wanna have on Netflix, right? And she swear she could have been a mermaid. We had to go and buy a mermaid tail and whatever. And they were white mermaids, so. Right? She still feels it.
That's stupid. Every time people say that, I get so pissed.
But my thing is this, and I told her this. I say, okay, so you're happy about the message that it sends to young black girls, right? I said, but let me tell you, is my problem with when you want to look up on that for messaging for your children, right? Because after one message comes two. When they start to push the other agendas, you understand what I'm saying? The alphabet agenda. Boy, go and say, no, but we brighter than that. No, we are not. No, we are not. Right? She said, no, but think about it. We Chinese, we know better. Okay, Chinese might know a bit. They might think a bit more differently, or might hesitate a bit before they start acting out those things. Well, let's be real. They didn't make that movie Keaton the Trinidadians, right? So even if they had that messaging in there to make black women feel, or black children feel like, hey, you could reach anything, there's going to be a next message coming after, in the next show, and a next show, and a next movie, or whatever the case may be. Other messages going to start coming. So I was trying to tell her, once you start to go down that road, are looking there for messages for your children. Just know when the other messages come,
when Black Panther came out, and I was not interested in anyway, right? Because I hate not hate, but I don't really like comic book movies. There's only one or two I've seen that I've actually taken to, right? So I'm not a comic book movie fan, and that one looked awful. I heard this fella's Chadwick Boseman talking in the accent, and I just found it sounded so ridiculous. And I was just like, why can't you just get an African man to play the role? Or just, let me stop this shit and just talking an American accent or talking a British accent and all. You know what I mean? Because we've done that before. For some reason, just insert British accents into random situations when people would not have necessarily been from Britain. But whatever, right? Because I'm sure you would have done a better British accent than he did an African accent. But I just found it looked stupid to me, right? Most comic book movies look stupid to me. That one looked like one of the stupider ones, and I was not in any way, shape, or form like, oh, you're not gonna get me to somehow be excited because you're showing a mythical African, land,
city,
that never exists, but whatever. But I kept telling people over and over was that, listen, if I let my self-esteem be controlled by them, in other words, if they choose to show me or then they could switch it off. They could turn the tap off. You know what I mean? So what happens when, they make a turn in a different direction, when the cultural pendulum swings and now we going back to being, racist or whatever, then what? Then my self-worth will drop when they stop giving me representation.
Which is the next point I wanted to make in that same thing. So, okay, let's just say they come to represent the black people or whatever the case may be. Let's just say this movie doesn't do well, right? The box office numbers.
Oh, it's rubbish. Forget whether people like it or not. I go and I watch the movie and I find it's shit.
No, but here this. What about if the box office doesn't do well, right? And they Disney decides to take a stance and say, well, we are now going to kind of revert, to keep it carried back to what it was.
Yes.
Because we feel...
Because money have to make.
Right?
Yeah.
What happens now?
Yeah, exactly.
You understand?
Exactly. So I can't put my self-worth in their hands. No, I mean, sometimes, and also it assumes that people identify their blackness as the key element of them. That's the other very racist implication of all of this. That because you are black, you hold your blackness because, for instance, it would mean much more to me to see Winston is his name? Duke? Yeah. In the film than it would be to see just a black cast. Because my connection might be with my nationhood.
Right.
And it might mean more to me because I might feel like, yeah, boy, that is the fact that a man from Tobago could make it there. That might be far more inspiring to me because my nationhood might matter to me much more than the color of my skin.
And I mean, and to us as Trinidadians,
yes,
or Trinbagonians, it'd be like, wait, a man could leave this small island and make it.
Exactly. Whenever I watch ESPN FC and see Shaka Islam, it does kind of give you pride might be a strong word, but it does more than than just seeing a black person there, because and I guess for us it's always going to be different because we didn't grow up in a place where blacks were a minority, and we weren't, I guess, made to feel like how some black people would say that they were made to feel over there. And I'm not saying they're making it up, but so I always have to give way to that. But for us here, we only saw white people on TV, but it didn't mean to us that we didn't feel like we could do the same things. I always tell people, if you had asked me when I was very, very young, the first job I ever wanted to have? Well, I said not first job, probably not when I was like 3, 4, because then I might have said fireman. But when I, had sense, maybe 10, and he asked me, what you want to be when I grow up? You know what I used to say?
What's that?
The Secretary General of the United Nations.
Okay.
And no, it was not. Kofi Annan didn't take over that post yet. It was a guy called Boutros Ghali. I heard his name and found it sounded weird. So I inquired who he was, and somebody explained to me what the UN was. And I was like, oh, so he's like the president of the world. It's like, well, then to me, at that time, my understanding was he would be the most important person. Well, I want to be that. And I didn't need to see Kofi Annan come from Ghana to feel like I could do that, right? I saw him and felt like, yeah, I could. It didn't cross my mind that he's not black. So unless I'm black, I can't. We don't think in those terms, especially us here in the Caribbean. We don't think in those terms because we understand that, yes, we get our media from another country, and because it comes from media we consume is from a country that is dominated by white people, that's what it is. But while seeing that, we aren't living in a place where the people are subjugating us.
Right.
In the same way that they are.
Right.
So, because I could understand if you're seeing those things on the TV and then you're living in a place where people shitting on you, then it might mean a whole lot
more. Right.
more. But us here in the Caribbean, we can't stop pretending. We didn't need to see black people doing things to know that because, okay, he would not have been the UN Secretary General, but we had black prime ministers, right? We at the time would have had a black prime minister when I was 10. We would have had a black prime minister, right? So I didn't need to feel like to be somebody important, I needed to be white because we had important black people right here. So when I hear Caribbean people kind of try to give them kind of like, nah, dog, that's not reality. My little daughter, everything she watches is mainly Western, mainly European people, but she doesn't feel like she can't do it. You know what I mean? And if she feels like she can't do it, it's not because of her race. She might feel like she can't do it because she's not talented enough or she doesn't do whatever. But it's not because she feels like, well, no, unless I see another black person do it first, I could never do it. Am I a clown? Or I never feel like I could do it. No. I don't buy that at all from people. And I think a lot of it is, and then on top of that, okay, so America, they got to the pinnacle. A black man was president. And he was popular while president. He wasn't, well, obviously he had his haters.
Yeah,
but those people would hate anybody who was there, right? And maybe you could say they were more extreme towards him. I don't know if that's true or not, but fine. The thing is, in presidents that has gotten the most hate in most recent times is Trump. But Trump didn't exist. He was nothing while.
But what I'm saying, but now being here now to look back, you understand what I'm saying? So Obama ain't get that kind of hate.
He certainly didn't get that, right?
Yeah.
And I don't think that the hate he got from the other side was even like the hate George Bush got from his other side, right? Because George Bush was very hated,
right?
Almost as hated as Trump, to be fair. Well, not almost. Trump, everything with Trump was extreme. But it's because a lot of time has passed now, people don't remember, but George Bush was called all sorts of names, right? And if you watched, quote unquote, liberal media back then, they were doing him almost the same thing they did to Trump, which was, to always misrepresent what he said. And, they were bashing him as much as, well, not as much as, but they were bashing him a lot. I don't watch Fox, so I don't know if Fox was doing Obama the very same thing when he was there. But the point I'm making is that they had a black president. He won re-election, so he wasn't as popular the second time, but he was certainly popular when he came to office the first time, and he maintained some popularity to win again. And what did that representation do? Did it turn anything around in the United States? Did it in Chicago? The way he was a senator.
Some people would say,
or representative or whatever it is.
Some people would say Black Lives Matter started in Obama era. Black Lives Matter movement.
Well, it started on the at the tail end of his movement. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, right. But and that's the worst time it is that. Think about it, because you now come from nearly 8 years. I would say 6 years of being in there, then you should have been fixing things to black people. Black people shouldn't have.
No, and not just him fixing. I'm saying they make all this hullabaloo about representation and what it does for the psyche of a young person seeing that. How much did it turn anything around?
I shouldn't say fixing, but after 6 years of him being in power, black people should have risen.
Yeah, this thing that you claim that happens when representation happens, where everybody becomes people. So the collective self-esteem is lifted. Did we see that in where he was, not where he's from, but where he represented the city of Chicago? You know what I'm saying? What happened to there? What happened to there while he was there, and what happened to there now? You understand? Did the vice lords or whatever gangs that existed then, did they hey boy, no boy, we do have a bus gun and thing again, bro. We could be president, son. We could be something completely different. No, they did not. No, they did not. Because seeing somebody do something on TV is not the thing that makes you become. It's not that. You know what I mean? People have dedication, talent, and hard work and ambition, and that's what gets them where they want to go. Seeing somebody who looks like you do it before you, that's like, if anything, it plays a very, very tiny role. So we invest so much in representation, but then what does that representation bring back? Does it bring any tangible benefits? Does it, you know what I mean? Or for the populace? No. In terms of Hollywood representation, yes, it brings a lot of tangible benefits to the select few who get to act in those things, right? But does it change the community around? Does it say, well, now that I've seen a black woman rise to the point point of becoming a billionaire, Oprah,
right? Yeah,
has that collectively turned the tables in the black community?
See more black women up there.
Well, I mean, obviously, more black women are because more black people are getting better
and more opportunities.
Right.
Yeah.
But that would have happened whether people did it or not. You know what I'm saying? So, but is it that this as I say, this idea that collectively we all feel better about ourselves, and once we feel better about ourselves, then we act differently because we see that yes, we could get up there. What the fuck does that do? We're still in the same situation. Still have rappers getting blasts every 10 days these days.